Hey guys, welcome back once again. This is Shrikant Rathod here. Today I'm going to discuss a very important topic as per the algebra concern, that is quadratic equations. Yes, when we talk about algebra, the first thing comes in our mind is about the quadratic equations, right? So we'll be going in detail about the what are the types of questions you may expect based on the quadratic equations and with a few examples, right? Let me tell you, this is the continuation of the previous class. In last class, we just discussed about the factoring and the distributing the equations along with the simultaneous or a system of equations. If you have not watched that video, I suggest you to please follow that video for the better understanding of the quadratic or better understanding of the algebra. So, right, let's start. Quadratic equations. A quadratic is an expression that fits into the general form ax square plus bx plus c with a, comma b and c as constants. The general form of a quadratic equation here is ax square plus bx plus c is equals to 0, where a is the coefficient of x square, b is the coefficient of x and the c is the constant term. So what does it mean? When you solve this kind of expressions, you will be getting the two values of x, as the highest power here is 2, and those two values of x are called the roots of the quadratic equations or solutions to the quadratic equations or zeros of those quadratic equations. So there are different ways to simplify and get the values of x, that is to solve the quadratic equations. So one of the way here is factoring the quadratics, or I can say splitting the middle term. So what is the purpose of this one? The best way to solve a quadratic equation is to factor into a two binomials. So let's consider one example here. X square minus 5x is equals to 6. This is not in the general form, so we have to write it first as x square minus 5x minus 6 is equals to 0. The next is you have to take the coefficient of x square here, that is the coefficient of x square here is 1. If you are not writing anything, means there is 1, and the constant term here is negative 6. I'm talking about c. So 1 times negative 6, the coefficient of x square is multiplied with the constant term, so your result is going to be negative 6. Now you have to write the factors of this negative 6. When you multiply those two numbers, you should get the result as negative 6, but when you add those two numbers or subtract those two numbers, you should get the result as the middle term, that is negative 5. That basically you should get the result as b, that is coefficient of x. So what I do now, what are the factors of negative 6? Negative 6 can be written as we have written 1 times negative 6 can be written as negative 6. 1 minus 6, when you add them, 1 minus 6, it's gonna be minus 5. We are getting here. You might be thinking here, why I can just write it as, why I'm just taking one, times negative 6 itself as the factor, as there are like many factors can be written for this. Negative 6 can also be written as either 2 times negative 3, that gives me the negative 6, or I can also say negative 2 times 3, that gives me again the result as negative 6. But when you add them, you are not getting the value as uh, b, that is the coefficient of x. So that's why I won't be considering this. So the factors here for this expression I can consider as 1 and the negative 6. So this expression further can be written in this way as x square minus 6x plus x, because together you add, you will be getting as minus 5x minus 6 is equals to 0. So now what term you can take a common from this and what term you can take common from this one? You can take x as a common out, then it becomes x minus 6 plus 1 as a common factor, as the common factor for x and negative 6 is 1. So there are no other number which are common. So I can say in the bracket here left x minus 6 equal to 0. Look at, after taking the sum of the factored out, in here the same expression, that is x minus 6 and the x minus 6, as the common. So this is how you take the factors. So this further can be written as x minus 6 times x plus 1. So that is, I can take x minus 6 as a common out further, so left here is x plus 1. This is equals to 0. To make this entire expression equals to 0, either x minus 6 will be equal to 0 or x plus 1 will be equal to 0. So from this one I can say x is equals to 6 and x is equals to negative 1. These are the roots of the quadratic equations. This is how you solve. All right. Let's take another example here. 2x square minus 12x plus 16 is equals to 0. So remember one thing, so before solving any equations or expression, try to make it in the simplest form. So try to make as simple as it is. Here 2x square negative 12x plus 16 equal to 0, instead of just going in the direct way, as 2 is the common for entire expression, so I can make it further simplified as by dividing by this entire expression, dividing by 2. So what happens after dividing by 2? That becomes like 2x square by 2 minus 12x by 2 plus 16 by 2 equals to 0. When I'm saying dividing by 2 means you should divide each term by 2, right? And this becomes now x square minus 6x plus 8 equals to 0. Now this is in the simplest form and it is the quadratic equations general form. Now let's do with the splitting the middle term again. What are the factors? Coefficient of x square here is 1 and the constant term here is 8. So I can do 1 times 8 is equivalent to 8. What are the other ways of writing the multiplication of two number as 8? This can be written here as, what are the ways? I can also write here as minus 1 times minus 8 can also be written as 8, but when you add them 1 plus 8 or 1 minus 8, you won't be getting the middle term here as 6. So I can write it in the other way as well. So I can write it as, this 8 can also be written as minus 2 times minus 4. You have to take the factors or the number by considering when you add them, you should get this as the middle term, right? So I'll be getting here as minus 6, minus 2 times minus 4, it's gonna be plus 8, but when you add them, minus 2 minus 4, it's gonna be minus 6. Yes, we got that. And I can write the middle term of this expression here as, I can split this the minus 6 with minus 2 and minus 4. So this is, next we can write it as x square minus 2x minus 4x plus 8 equal to 0. So again take the sum term as a factored out. X is the common here, x minus 2 minus 4 is common here, x minus 2 equal to 0. So I am taking as minus 4. If you multiply this 4 with this entire bracket, so it's gonna be negative 4 times x is gonna be negative 4x, negative times negative it's gonna be positive, 4 times 2 it's gonna be 8. So this is how we take this term as an factored out. So again minus 2 is the common for both. I can take, that is x minus 2 is common for both. I can take x minus 2 as the common out further, and in the bracket we left here as x minus 4. That's equal to 0. To make this entire expression equal to 0, either x minus 2 equal to 0 or x minus 4 equal to 0. So from this we can say your roots are x equals to 2 and x equals to 4 are the roots of the quadratic equations. But as per the competitive exams concern, it's not necessary to follow, or I don't suggest you to do all the steps what I'm following here. I'm just telling you for the understanding purpose. After splitting the middle term, what you are getting this one value as negative 2 and another value here as negative 4, right? In the exam you can just write it in this way. okay, and what you write the number here, whatever the number you are getting here, so that is -2 is the one number, -4 is the another number, that's make it equal to 0. That's it. And after that you will be getting the again x as 2 and x as 4, the way what we got here. All right, so this is just only for the understanding purpose, but to solve faster and the quicker you can follow this approach. After getting splitting the middle term, those itself is the factors. Remember, you have to take as according to the sign as well, not only just the number. Here it was -2, that's what I took it as -2. Here -4, I took it as -4. If it's plus, we have to take it as plus based on the what sign as of that number is. All right. Okay, the quadratic formula. Unfortunately, not all quadratic equations can be factored. Factoring quadratic equation is practically only when the roots of the equations are integers. Sometimes a quadratic equation will be non-integer decimal numbers, and also sometimes the quadratic equation will have no real roots. So in that case, we have to follow a rule called the quadratic formula, and this is how the quadratic formula we write: x equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac whole that divided by 2a. Okay, so this is the formula which has been written based on the general expression, that is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, where a, b, c are the constants. A is the coefficient of x square, b is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant term. So based on that, this is how we follow that equation, right? Let's consider one example here. By looking to that, what is the value of a, what is the value of b, and what is the value of c we get, because we have to substitute in the form of a, b, c. So I can say the value of a here is 1 because the coefficient of x square is nothing, it means 1. The value of b here is going to be -7, and the value of c it's going to be 8, right? So substitute these values to solve for x. X equals to minus of -7. Remember, this -7 is already there, and I'm taking the value of b as the -7, plus or minus square root of -7 square minus 4 times, what is the value of a, it's 1. What is the value of c, it's gonna be 8. This entire expression is divided by 2 times 1. I'm just substituting their values. Okay, so that minus time minus is gonna be plus, plus or minus square root of -7 square, it's gonna be 49, minus 4 times 1, it's gonna be -4, minus 4 times it's gonna be -32, divided by what we gonna get here, 2, right? So plus or minus that divided by 2, that's what we gonna get. Next, further simplify it. So this further can be written here as 7 plus or minus square root of what we gonna get, 49 minus 32. 9 minus 2, it's gonna be 7, and 4 minus 3, it's gonna be 1. So that is square root of 17 divided by 2. So if you further simplify it, this can be written as 7 plus square root of 17 by 2. Another expression is gonna be 7 minus square root of 17 entire expression by 2. So this is how you solve the quadratic equation if the roots are not an integer. That 7 plus square root of 17 by 2, that gives you approximately 5.56, and here 7 minus 70 square root of 17 by 2 gives me approximately here as 1.44. So these are the two values of x. So these are the roots of x. But there are some exams which won't allow you to use a calculator. In that case, what you do, in that case you can just approximate the values. Square root of 17 can be written as square root of 16, right? Because 16 and 17 are very much near, and you have to round it to its value and choose the number which is very much near to the options provided. So here, as per the exam concern, I can solve in the approximate way. This can be written as 7 plus square root of 16 by 2, that is, and here 7 minus square root of 16 by 2. 16 is a perfect square number. The square root of 16 becomes 4. Though 7 plus 4, it's gonna be 11 by 2. That giving me the value here as 5.5, which is equivalent to or approximate to the 5.56. And here 7 minus 16, that is 7 minus 4 divided by 2, that is 7 minus 4 is going to be 3. 3 divided by 2, I am getting it as 1.5, that is near to 1.44, something like that. This is how you just rounded your values and select the nearest one. Because we don't have a calculator, it's difficult to find the root and simplifying. Just approximate it. That's okay. All right. So let's take the same example. As I told, we can also solve the the quadratic equation with the integer as the root by using the quadratic formula. So I have taken the same example, or let's say this is, let me just take this as a plus. This is the same example which I have considered referring to the previous one, to show you that if you solve with the quadratic formula or the splitting the middle term, you're gonna get the same answer if the integers are if the roots are integer, go with this factoring. If not, you go with the formula. But you can also solve the equation by using the formula as well. Let's see how do we do. Let me write it in the standard form now. X square minus 5x minus 6 equals to 0. So value of a here it's gonna be 1, b it's gonna be minus 5, and c it's gonna be minus 6. So we have a formula x equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac, this all divided by 2 times a. Substitute their values. Minus of minus 5 plus or minus square root of minus 5 square minus 4 times a. Value of a is gonna be 1, value of c is gonna be negative 6. This all divided by 2 into 1. So 5 plus or minus square root of 5 square is going to be 25, minus 4 times 1 it's going to be minus 4, and minus 4 times minus 6, minus times minus is going to be plus, 4 times 6 is going to be 24. So this entire thing divided by 2. So this is written as 5 plus or minus square root of 25 plus 24, it's gonna be 49. This is divided by 2, and 49 is a perfect square number. So this expression I can write it further here as 5 plus or minus 7 by 2, isn't it? So square root of 49 is 7. So this is written further as 5 plus 7 by 2 comma 5 minus 7 by 2. So from this one, 5 plus 7 is going to be 12. 12 by 2 you're going to get here as 6. 5 minus 7 is going to be minus 2. Minus 2 by 2 you're going to get it as minus 1. So we got the same root as we got before, right? So that's why you can go with the formula, or if the expressions are simple, go with the factoring the middle term. Both approaches are good, fine. Okay. There are other questions what you may expect based on the quadratic formula here is, it is possible to tell quickly without going for all the way through the quadratic formula how many roots an equation has. So I, without solving and telling there are one root, two root, or no root something, by just looking to the expression itself we can say how many roots the given expression has. Because sometimes the competitive exams expect you to say whether the given system of equation has one root, two root, no root, many root, or something like that. So this is we can predict. The part of the quadratic formula under this radical, that is the square root, that is b square minus 4ac, this term is called an discriminant, and the discriminant decides whether the given quadratic equation has solutions or not. If it is there, how many, like, and so on, right? So here we have to consider the three situations to identify whether the given quadratic equation has solutions or not. The first thing here is, if b square minus 4ac is less than 0, it means if the discriminant value is less than 0, or under the square root is negative, less than 0 it means negative. So in this case we say then the equation has no real roots, both of its roots are imaginary. Under the square root, negative number does not exist as a real, so we consider them as an imaginary numbers. So square root is negative, so we say they don't have real roots, but the roots are imaginary roots. This is the second condition. If b square minus 4ac is equals to 0, then the equation has one distinct real root and it's a perfect square. So if the square under this discriminant value is getting equal to 0, it means the square root, whatever the number we are getting, that becomes a perfect square number. So in that case, the value of the x or the roots will be, only one number with which has a perfect square. That is only one number what we gonna get. So either like it may be 0 0 or 1 1 or 2 2, any number with the same values. I'm getting the same number, so those are called the roots or the real roots of the given quadratic equation. If b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, then the equation has two distinct real roots. So this is what we saw the some examples. So here this equation we got it as the two distinct real roots because b square minus 4ac is greater than 0. This is how we identify. Okay, so these are the very important conditions to predict whether the given system of equation has roots or not, right? Apart from this, what you may also expect the question here is based on the sum and the products of the roots. So there are some exams which they want you to find what is the sum of the roots and what is the product of the roots. Sum of the roots, it means like, when you are solving the quadratic equation, so you are getting the values of x, the two values of x. When you add them, those are the sum of the roots. When you multiply them, those are the product of the roots. But this is the long process. Now if they are asking you only just for the sum of the roots and the product of the roots and they are not interested in what those roots are, so instead of just solving it, finding the roots, then adding them or subtracting them, we can follow and the technique that is or a formula which can directly gives you the sum of the roots and the product of the roots. So here the formula is here. If the question is asking about the sum of the roots of an quadratic equation, so we just need to do negative coefficient of x divided by coefficient of x square. So what is the coefficient of x? As per the general formula, the coefficient of x here is going to be b. That is, we can say x1 plus x2, that is those are the sum roots of the given quadratic equation. So then it will be written as negative b by a. So the coefficient of x is b and the coefficient of x square here is a. So this is the formula. So let's consider our previous example. We had like x square minus 5x minus 6 equals to 0 after modifying, and after solving this we got the two values. So what are those? We got the one root here as 6 and another root we got it as negative 1. These are the, I can take this is the value as x1 and this is the value I can take here as x2, right? When you are adding them, x1 plus x2, that gives us like 5, that gives us here as what we're gonna get here as x1. What we got the values, let me just check. Yes, we got it as 1 and 6. When you add them, you will be getting it as 6. When we are getting here as 6 minus 1, that's the sum, it's gonna be 5. So but this is like after finding their roots and then solving. But here if I'm just going directly as per the formula, minus sign is there. What is the value of b? As per the general expression, the value of b here it's gonna be negative 5. I can say minus 5, and the value of a here it's gonna be 1. So if you are comparing the value of a, b and c for this, a it's gonna be 1, b it's gonna be minus 5, and c it's gonna be minus 6. So minus of minus 5 it's gonna be plus 5, 5 by 1, so result it's gonna be 5. So here I don't know what is the individual root, but I only know what is their sum. So this is, if there is a question relating with sum, I just suggest you to go with this, so it saves a lot of time. In other way, they may also ask you question about finding the products of roots. So the product of the root, we can find it as the constant term divided by coefficient of x square. The constant term means I'm talking about the c as per the general expression, right? So let's take the same example we have, that is, we got the two roots, x1 we got as 6 and x2 we got it as -1. When you multiply them, x1 times x2, you will be getting it as 6 times -1, that's you're gonna get it as -6. So instead of doing this, I can directly go to the expression here. Value of c, it's gonna be -6 as per this we said, and the value of a here, it's gonna be 1. So -6 divided by 1, that gives you the -6. That's it. So the product of the root here as -6 and their sum, it's gonna be 5. So this trick is very important as per the SAT, GMAT, GRE, CAT, or any other banking related exams. So they just expect you to find their sum and the product instead of finding the roots. All right, guys. Okay. So this is the same example which I have considered and we discussed here. Okay. Let's take one example here. Another example referring to that. Question says, what is the sum of the all values of m that satisfies 2m square minus 16m plus 8 equals to 0? Remember, when I'm writing the quadratic equations, it is not necessary that their expression only in terms of x. The variable I can use as any letter. It can also be in terms of y, in terms of I, j, k, whatever the constants. If whenever you see the expression, the general format, it's in the quadratic form, then here we consider this is a quadratic equation and we have to solve for that variable. So here the variable here is m instead of x, m, and this is the general form, and they are asking what is the sum of all the values of m that satisfy. It's basically what is the sum of the roots they are saying. So compare this expression with what is the value of a, 2, what is the value of b, here it's going to be -16, and c it's going to be 8, right? Or you can further simplify it as a as 1 dividing by 2, so a as 1, b as -8, and c as 4. It's possible because c is the common in that. So their sum, we can write it here as minus b by a, we say. So that's minus, what is the value of b here, -16 divided by value of a here is going to be 2. It's basically 16 by 2. So 8, 16 divided by 2, that gives you the value as 8. So answer to this question, it's going to be D. So this is how you solve. All right. Now, when we are talking about algebra and especially the quadratic equations, it's important to know about the sum of the basic identities. That's, we mention it as the special quadratic identities. Sometime you'll be getting a questions directly based on these identities itself. So what are the things we need to remember or memorize here as per the exams? The first thing here is, the first identity is a plus b whole square. This can also be written as a square plus 2ab plus b square. Some students, they don't remember the formula, then they may also derive by themselves. This a plus b whole square can be written as a plus b times a plus b, but this is by deriving and then solving and substituting, this is the time consuming. So it's better to memorize this type of formulas because they are very important. So this can be written as a square plus 2ab plus b square. Another one is a minus b whole square, that is a square plus 2ab, so a minus b whole square, this term here should be minus, not plus. Okay, let me just do a correction here. That should be a square minus 2ab plus b square. So this can also be further written as a minus b times a minus b. So this is by the distributing, I can derive it like a times a, it's gonna be a square, a times b is gonna be minus ab, minus b times a is again minus ab, minus times minus, it's gonna be plus, b times b, it's gonna be b square. So that's how do we write it, a square minus like term minus ab, I can write as minus 2ab plus b square. This is how you get, so it's better to remember, right? And the last is a square minus b square. This identity can also be written in the form that is a plus b times a minus b. So these are the three very important identities you must know, I would say, for the competitive exams. Let's take some examples relating with this. This is how you may expect the questions. If a plus b equals to 7 and a square plus b square is equals to 37, then what is the value of a times b? Here it is saying a plus b equals to 7 and a square plus b square equals to 37. I can't split a square plus b square in the identity form because that is for a square minus b square, not for plus. Then what should I do now? How do I get that expression solving to my concern is I have to solve for a times b. So how do I get that value? So how do I solve this? So take this one and square it on the both the side. So it becomes a plus b square can be written as 7 square, right? So this is in the form of identity a plus b whole square. This will be written now a square plus 2ab plus b square is equivalent to 49. Alright, so this can further written as a square plus b square plus 2ab equals to 49. So what is the value of a square plus b square they have given to us? It's 37. So I can replace a square plus b square with 37 and then it's equals to, I can say 37 plus 2ab is equals to 49. So subtract 37 from both the side, arranging the like term. So what we gonna get here? This get cancelled out. So 2ab is equivalent to 9 minus 7, it's gonna be 2, and 4 minus 3, it's gonna be 1. So we gonna get it like 2ab is equals to 12. So divide by 2, that gives me the value of ab here as 6. So that is a times b is equal to 6. That is answer choice A is the correct as per the question what they are asking to us. This is how you have to think about which identity should I apply to get based on the what data has been given, right? Not always keep thinking about identity. You have to look at what has been given and how do I get whatever the term they are looking. Accordingly, you have to think about the identities and solve, right? Okay, let's consider another example here relating with identity. If m minus n is equals to negative 3 and m square minus n square is n square minus m square is equals to 24. Here they are saying n minus m is equals to minus 3, n square minus m square is equals to 24. Then the sum of m and n is, it's basically they are asking what is the value of n plus m. They are asking you what is the value of n plus m, right? So how do I get that? This is, you can write it in the identity form, the n square minus m square can be written as n minus m times n plus m, right? This can be written in this way as per the third identity. This is equivalent to 24 and they say the value of n minus m is negative 3. I can substitute for that. Negative 3 times n plus m is equals to 24. I need to get the value of n plus m as they are asking us for the sum. Divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3. So what we gonna get here? So their sum is equals to 24 divided by 3. It's gonna be 8. So here we are dividing 24 by negative 3. So n plus m, it's gonna be, just a second, n plus m, that's gonna be 24 by negative 3, it's gonna be negative 8. Alright guys, this is the type of questions what you may expect based on the quadratic equations and the quadratic identities. That's it for today's class. Once I'm done with the discussing the all the theoretical concepts, so I'll be solving the more questions relating with this. So please stay in touch, follow up, like and subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell icon so that whenever I upload the new videos, you'll be getting the notifications. All right, thank you so much.